I hope everybody can hear me. If you're out there and you're watching, let me know because I'm doing this solo for the first time and I'm not sure if you can hear me. Actually, it's the second time that I do this, but I'm not as prepared as I would have hoped. Um, but we're gonna give myself some grace on a Saturday morning after a very long week, and we will try to do our best. All right. Good morning, everyone. I would like you to close your eyes and um, imagine this little girl, 8 or 7 years, yeah, 8, 9 years old, and I'm in the ocean. I'm enjoying a day in the sand and the beach, and all of a sudden, I get caught in a rip current, which is what you would call it in the U.S., but it's really where the break of the waves in the ocean starts happening. And I try to come up for air. I was a fairly good swimmer. I try to come up for air, and another wave comes. And just as I'm coming up for air again, another wave comes. And just as I'm coming up for air again, another wave comes. And this happened what it felt like forever. And all of a sudden, there's a hand that grabs me and pulls me out of the current. And I get to actually take a deep breath. And I'm here today, so I didn't drown. But not too long ago, that's exactly how I felt. I started to experience as an adult a series of really significant losses in my life. And one after the other, just as I was coming up for air, emotional air, another wave hit. And then, just as I was coming up for air again, another wave hit. And just as I was coming up for air again, another wave hit. I'm trying to see if this is working, and I actually can't. So I'm going to keep going, assuming that it is working. This is what happens when I do this on my own. Magic, I miss you today. um, but anyway, the consecutive chain of losses really inspired me to focus on trying to share some of that because not a lot of people talk about it, but also trying to understand how other people pull themselves out of the waves when someone is not there to pluck them out, or how to pluck myself out of it, right? Thankfully, I have a great support system, and thank you, Joselias. Thankfully, I have a great support system, and I did have that hand to rescue me and pull me out of the waves. But let me give you a little bit of an idea, and let me see if now that I know the live is working, let me share a slide so I can give you a visual of the different things that were happening throughout my life. Um, I first lost my dad in October. I'm actually not going to try to share because that's going to be disastrous. But I actually lost my dad on October 22nd, 2026. On December 17th of 2017, my mom was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer. On July 2nd, 2018, I lose my grandma, who really was integral in raising me and my brother, um, along with my grandfather after my parents divorced. August 6th, So my grandma passes on July 2nd, 2018. On August 6th of 2021, my grandfather passes. And on April 18th, 2023, my grandmother passes. I'm sorry, my mother passes. So you can see that there was a chain of events, back to back to back to back, a chain of losses. Then that same year, 2023, on August, I was laid off of my corporate job that I've held, or from the company that I had worked for 28 years. So as I explored loss in general, I really started to think about different types of losses. And when I started researching it, the first one that came up was layoff survivor syndrome, which is really around losing when people are laid off in any company. And it really was a research study looking at the people that were left behind. I was really looking at trying to find the research and tools and techniques and understand what happens to someone that survives being laid off. And in that process, as well as in the process of exploring loss as a whole in all of its dimensions, I stumbled upon a lot of different research from different perspectives. And the point is that it inspired me to start a series. And I'm probably going to do it Saturday mornings for a lot of reasons, but mostly schedule reasons. And I want to hold space. I actually have a group of almost 27 people that have already volunteered to, and I promise I will have my technical issues worked out, but they have volunteered to come into this space and talk to all of us about their losses and how they overcame their various losses. I will say that it's going to be a difficult topic. It's going to be a topic that will inspire you. It will be a topic that um, may help you process your own pain and your own grief. And that's really what it's meant to do. It's meant to create a space that will provide others with some light, some companionship. I called it a bounce back buddy, whether it's a bounce back buddy for a loss at work or anything else that you have to bounce back from your life. That's the space that I want to make sure I create and I bring to the table. There's a lot of people that will come and we'll talk to them about their own experience with their losses. And it's going to be pretty much anything and everything, a loss of a coworker and those that are left behind, and the consequences to a business in terms of the psychological safety that's broken with the employees that are left behind. But then also talk about the loss from the perspective of the person that loses a little bit of their own identity because they no longer work for that particular company or they no longer have that place to go. It's also the loss of your own independence, whether it's because you were tied to work, but also when you lose other things, when you lose your sense of safety around your health, which is something that I saw my mom go through when she was diagnosed with her cancer. And there's a host of other things that we could really uh, touch upon. It's going to be an interesting journey. As you can see, I'm kind of figuring this out as I go along, including the technical components, and I will get better at it, I promise. But we really just want to add value, whether it's me or the people that will come on the calls with me. We just want to add value to help people that are going through a difficult time, experiencing loss of any kind, to talk through some of their coping mechanisms and what helped them get out of their loss challenge. I will say that I had a great team of people around me that helped me throughout all my different losses. Of course, my husband has been um, kind of the safe harbor and the person that has consistently been there to help me bounce back. But my friends, my family, um, even strangers, it's incredible the amount of kindness that pours out of different places and different people. So I am looking forward to embarking on this journey. I offer you a safe space to ask questions or bring your comments and your thoughts, any tools and books and things that might help other people. I have two of them today that I want to share, and I'll talk a little bit about those as we move forward. Um, we will definitely be coming live consistently from Saturday from 11 to 11:45 Eastern. That time seems to work to provide people from different time zones the ability to join us. And I didn't want to cover this during the work week or because it's a heavy topic and it's something that people may not feel like going to work afterwards. um, and so I really wanted to. I gave a lot of thought to the day and the time, even though people are not on LinkedIn most Saturdays. But I will put these on YouTube. I will put these in other places so that people can have access to as much of the information as possible. And I will try to really provide a good variety of topics and tools around loss, around grief, around coping, around mental health, around psychological safety in the workplace, out of the workplace, in schools. I remember really seeing my daughter go through her own version, and that's another interesting thing, right? How do you see other people go through their losses? So I hope that it adds value to everybody. Today, I want to leave you with a couple of things. When I lost my grandpa, actually, I had a teammate who was absolutely wonderful. I had a lot of teammates that were absolutely wonderful, but I had a particular person. His name is Demetrius Bentley. So, shout out to Demetrius if you're out there. Demetrius sent me this beautiful little package from Spoonful of Comfort. And I loved the little blanket that he sent me, which I still have. And I had another coworker that was so thoughtful and kind, and um, she sent me this beautiful book, How to Survive the Loss of a Love. And it actually covers a lot more than a love. It covers loss from different angles. It talks about the different types of losses, the obvious losses, which are the ones that I've spoken about, like a family member, but the not so obvious losses, right? I was talking to a new mom not too long ago, and in her case, the loss was really about kind of the loss of independence. And for those of you who are mothers, you probably can relate to, I'm going to call it the loss of peace of mind. I know that once I had my child, I never slept the same way again because you're always afraid for them. You're afraid when they're little, you're afraid they're going to stop breathing in their crib. Or when now she's 17 and she's driving, and I'm afraid every time she goes out the door of whatever might happen to her. But there's different ways in which we process all of those losses, and I want to make sure that we provide that space to people to come. We can do it in English or in Spanish. I have a couple of people. I know, Julio, you're out there. You can absolutely come to this space and we can talk about it in Spanish. And now we have this wonderful thing called AI that can translate all sorts of things. So we will use that. But yeah, I definitely want to offer it as a space for people to come and share and hopefully give somebody else a little ray of hope. Another wonderful tool that I want to recommend to people is this book, Discover the Gift. I will give away the plot. The gift is love, but there's so much goodness in here. And I have this particular page marked because it was very useful to me. I'm a process person and I see everything. I try to find an answer for many things in knowledge and in past people's histories. So it has some really great steps outlined on how to help you discover the gift of love, love for yourself, love for other people. And it's important because as you're going through the process of dealing with a huge loss, one of the biggest things that you have to remember is love for yourself and give yourself the grace and the space to process that. And, my mom passed away now a year and a month ago. And some days I'm okay, and some days not so much. And that's pretty consistent with everyone that's lost a very integral person in their lives. The other thing that losing my mom and then losing my corporate job so quickly after, which was 4 months after, it gave me perspective, right? Um, yes, my career was important, and I had a lot of love for my career. But in contrast and in comparison with the loss that I was still processing, it was really, let's just say it put things into perspective, right? And thank you, Kenya. And so I really think that this is going to be a nice vehicle for people to walk away with tools, with hopefully some hope, with the people that share their stories, maybe a little bit of peace, a little bit of comfort in how they've worked through their own process of acceptance. Because one of the things I've learned is that you don't get over the loss. You process you process the loss, you accept it. And everybody tells you about the stages of grief. By the way, they're all true, but you're always going to carry it with you. And it's how you carry it and how you turn that pain into purpose that really defines the experience. And it reshapes who you are, right? So, with that, and we're 18 minutes in, so we'll finish a little early. But with that, I want to welcome all of you. Share this with anyone that you think can benefit. We're going to come in every other Saturday. So I'm not doing it every Saturday. We're doing it every other Saturday. I will be more diligent about posting it in advance on LinkedIn and posting it correctly so that you all can find the link. I'll also post it on YouTube. And feel free to share it in any other platform. I'm not an Instagram person. I'm not a TikTok person. I can only manage a few things at a time, as you can see. And I don't want to spread myself too thin. Maybe some of my wonderful team members will figure out one of these great apps that streams to all sorts of other places. But until then, our regular home, or my regular home on this topic, will be here on LinkedIn. I appreciate the patience that you had with me today. I appreciate the support, and I hope to see all of you and more of you consistently as we move forward on the topic. Thank you so much. Have a beautiful Saturday, and I'll see you not next Saturday, but the Saturday after. Thanks.